The WHO declared a global public health emergency over the outbreak of the new form of coronavirus today, just a few hours after the CDC reported the first case of person-to-person transmission in the U.S. There are now 6 confirmed cases of coronavirus in the U.S., but the vast majority are in China, where the outbreak originated. Around 8,000 cases have been confirmed, which have killed more than 170 people. In an effort to stop the infection from spreading, the government has closed schools across the country and in its territory of Hong Kong until mid-February. Longtime observers of Hong Kong are saying the virus might just add more fuel to the fire there, stoking accusations of local government ineptitude and distrust of Beijing. One local photographer had been capturing the months-long protests in Hong Kong until he was barred from the country earlier this month. Neisloss tells us his story.
The structure of the book is something that came later.
In a classroom at the Massachusetts College of Art and Design, Professor Matthew Connors is teaching photography students how to make a book from their work.
And sometimes it announces itself right away.
It's a subject he knows well. Connors won a prestigious International Center for Photography award for his book, Fire in Cairo. They are images from the 2013 uprising. The government crackdown on protesters was deadly.
I think those risks are things that you need to personally define for yourself.
Connors has taken plenty of risks himself. More recently, turning his lens on Hong Kong.
This is a front line of protesters facing off with police that are outside of the frame of the picture.
He was arrested in late August during his first visit.
I was initially stopped by Hong Kong police force officers because I was not wearing a press pass, which is not illegal.
He later returned without incident to photograph more, and on his third visit in early January was barred from entering.
For me, it suggests a heightened paranoia and a heightened anxiety about how this turn of events is being represented, and its attempt on their part to really control the narrative.
Unlike many documenting Hong Kong, Connors is not a journalist and emphasizes how his work as a fine art photographer differs. Rather than capturing a moment, he wants the viewer to think deeply.
This was a picture in which a huge number of the residents of Hong Kong formed a human chain, and many of them held up their cell phones. And I thought there was just something really beautiful about that gesture and this sort of continuity of people touching one another. This one, for me, captures a sense of the chaos that was swirling around the events constantly.
These students see why China might be unhappy.
It's getting their attention, and they're kind of worried about what he's trying to say.
That's the best thing about photography. It does have a potential to give a certain truth, and maybe that's not the truth that they want.
Connors makes clear he's not the victim in this story.
It was a massive inconvenience, but it really pales in comparison to what Hong Kong citizens are facing on a daily basis there, in particular through the very heavy-handed tactics that the police are using.
But it's the end of class, and students shift focus to the professor.
Do you want to turn your photos from Hong Kong into a book eventually?
That's the idea. There's a problem of whether or not I can continue. Yeah, so that's to be determined.
Connors hopes to return to Hong Kong to continue his work. Neisloss, WGBH News.
The Chinese government did not respond to multiple requests for comment on Connors' case.